A lot of trophies take a long time to get, but wow, some really stand out. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 10 trophies that take hundreds of hours to complete. Starting off with number 10, Mortal Kombat 9's My Kung Fu is Stronger. Let's start off with this absolute beast of a trophy. The description for My Kung Fu is Stronger is simple. Gain mastery of all fighters. What they don't tell you is that you have to get 100 victories, 150 X-ray attacks, 10,000 pints of blood spilled, which basically amounts to doing tons of damage, 100 fatalities, and to top it off, you gotta get 24 hours of playtime with one character. There are 27 characters in total in Mortal Kombat 9, meaning, at minimum, if you want this achievement, you have to play the game for 648 hours, because you have to do all of this other stuff on top of the 24 hours. And that means you can't just leave the game running on a match. You actually have to play as the character a lot before moving on. Of course, a huge portion of those 600 plus hours will be idling in an endless battle, but it's still going to easily take over 100 hours of play, actual play, to get all those X-ray attacks and blood spilled. It's a ridiculously time-consuming trophy, and it seems like it couldn't possibly get any worse than that, but don't worry, this list will go on. At number 9 is Personal Decorator from Call of Duty Black Ops 3. In contrast to the MK trophy, this one isn't going to take hundreds of hours to complete because of a simple tedium that the tasks can be characterized with. It's actually just incredibly hard. Depending on who you ask, the achievement can take just 40 to 80 hours, 96 or over 100 depending on your skill level. To get it, you need to earn all decorations in the Black Ops 3 campaign. You get those by doing stuff like earning all the campaign unlockables, getting all intel, fully upgrading your character. Like, there's a lot of basic stuff that doesn't take a lot of time to do, but the hard stuff comes after. Things like beating the campaign on realistic difficulty, where you basically die from a single hit, or the Immortal Fame decoration, where you beat every mission in the game at least once on veteran difficulty without restarting. I mean, at least it's not realistic. That would basically be impossible, but it's still really hard. all that together will take forever, but the real showstopper is trying to beat the training simulator on realistic. It's insane, and the place most people should start at when trying for this achievement, because if you can't finish that, you might as well give up. Like, there's no reason to put this kind of time and effort into something if that's the hurdle that you can't clear. In terms of total playtime, it isn't going to take as long as the Mortal Kombat one, but for most players, it'll easily take over 100 hours just to finish some of these ridiculously difficult requirements. If you've got friends playing co-op, it makes it a little easier, but at this point, it's probably a hard sell to wrangle 3 of your friends to stand around or revive you for multiple hours in a row in Black Ops 3. And number 8 is Lifeless from Panzer Dragoon. It's one trophy that's probably the perfect entry for this list. Look at this description. First off, you gotta have 100 plus hours in the game. Like, it's a trophy that takes more than 100 hours of playtime to get, and that's it. It'd be a dumb achievement, though, if this was a long game. But Panzer Dragoon, while, in my opinion, just a fantastic game from the 1990s, it's not a long game. You can beat it in like 45 minutes. Like, it'll only take a few hours to get all of the other achievements in the game, too. So once you do that, you just have to, like, exist in the game for 95 hours. So yeah, you can idle the game and run out the clock. It's just a stupid waste of time, which honestly summarizes a lot of these trophies. But at least a lot of them give you something to do while you're trying to get them. This game, it's just like you're stuck doing this for 100 hours. At number 7 is Super Go Outside from the Stanley Parable Deluxe. Technically, the trophy probably has everything else beat. You're supposed to wait for 10 full years. How it's actually worded is don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years. So if you want this achievement legit, you have to wait until April 27th, 2032. Of course, in contrast to everything else, this trophy's literally asking you to do nothing, rather than most of the other trophies on the list, which at least pretend like you're supposed to play the game to unlock them, but this one still gets a list on it technically. The list is trophies that take hundreds of hours to complete. There's nothing here about actually having to play the game. This is ignoring the fact there are plenty of people with this achievement already, because you can just change the clock 10 years to the future and unlock it. But if you want to do it legit, for whatever reason, you're going to have to not play the game for a really long time. And number 6 is Around the Globe in Grid. Here's a kind of novel trophy. To unlock it, you have to drive a total distance equal to the circumference of the Earth. So 24,901 miles or 40,075 kilometers. And if that doesn't sound like much, well, according to this guide on PlayStation Trophies, the writer completed all of the regular and DLC trophies and only had 1,950 miles total distance driven. Not even 10% of the miles required to get the trophy. The writer of the guide offers 2 methods for unlocking this one, and it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. You can either control the entire time, which will take around 90 to 100 plus hours to finish, or you can use the rubber band method of just letting the gameplay itself, but that takes over 220 hours. There's a faster method if you've got remote play, but it's going to take a long time to finish. In the real world, it's estimated it'd take about 415 hours to drive the circumference of the Earth. So, it's a little faster in the grid, but that's about the best thing we can say about this one. It's tedious. At number 5 is the hardcore Rosette fan in Persona 4 Golden. One of those trophies that sounds incredibly basic, but is hair-pulling. But I'm not one of those kinds of people that takes it out on my hair. No, what's unusual about it is that, depending on your luck, the time to finish this can vary wildly. Some people can get it halfway through their first playthrough, and others play the game multiple times, not even triggering it. Even when they're trying to get it, might I add. Keep in mind, this is a game that takes about 70 hours normally to finish, so even when you're rushing through the game and skipping cutscenes, it's still trivially easy to get your playtime over 100 hours. With that said, what even is the trophy? Okay. The description is here 250 of Risei's navigation lines, which sounds easy until you realize that it wants you to hear 250 unique lines. These randomly generate, and in response to certain actions, while players have figured out a way to get many of these lines to trigger, most of how this achievement works is kind of a mystery. Getting a lot of these to pop up forces you to do things that don't make sense, like letting yourself get hit with status ailments and swapping up party members constantly. If you level up your social links, especially with Risei, then you can miss out on a bunch of lines as well. Hell, just getting too strong can be a problem because apparently if you're over leveled, she won't have as many lines in a battle, even when you're intentionally dragging them out. It's just a really annoying trophy to get. And for some people, it's kind of a cakewalk that happens accidentally, but for everyone who seems to want the trophy, it can take forever. And the more you struggle to get that one last line you think you need, the longer it takes. It's one of the most infamous achievements out there, and while in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't take as long as some of the more gargantuan achievements on this list so far, but it's so frustrating on top of being time-consuming that it deserves a spot on this list. And number 4 is Guardian Angel from Fortnite Save the World. Did you know that Fortnite Save the World is still a thing? Yep, somehow it's still around, even if Epic's pretty much completely given up on it. You know, the Battle Royale mode just completely and utterly eclipsed it in popularity. But for whatever reason, the mode has some of the most boringly tedious trophies you've ever seen. Like, there's complete nonsense like World Explorer, where you just have to fully explore a really large number of zones. 1,500 zones. Ugh. And you have to build 500,000 structures. All of these are going to take hundreds of hours to complete, but Guardian Angel is just as bad as that, if not worse. To get it, you have to save 1,000 survivors, which can easily take around 200 hours, according to this Reddit post, if you're specifically trying to grind the trophy. Like, there's so many BS trophies in this game, like Plays Well with Others, where you have to play 1,000 Plays with Others missions. That alone just takes 300 hours, at least, to finish legit. And they're just kind of the laziest trophies out there. Like asking players to grind away endless hours of their lives for basically no reason. Like, maybe there's a reason that Fortnite Save the World is mostly dead. It makes the Battle Pass grind and Battle Royale seem easy. And number 3 is Warlord from Far Cry 2. I try to avoid talking about multiplayer ranked trophies for the most part, but the ones for Far Cry 2 are just egregious. They can't not be called that. They deserve it. Warlord's probably the worst of them, though. You gotta get to rank 30 by playing ranked matches, which is 1,500,000 XP total. If you're specifically boosting with other players, it's gonna take 100 hours minimum. Like, this guide on PlayStation Profiles estimates it'll be like 126 hours on this trophy alone, and that's with boosting, like I said. If you're playing legit, then bump that number to over 1,000. It doesn't help that a lot of the time the game doesn't even give XP in matches for some reason. Like, there's a couple of ways to glitch the game to speed up progression, but if you want to get the platinum, you gotta get the Soldier of Misfortune trophy, which might as well be literally impossible. That's because it wants you to complete all the challenges for every gun in the game, and some of these are incredibly dumb, like getting 250 multi-kills with the MGL 44mm grenade launcher. Like, it's a grenade launcher that doesn't kill in one hit, so good luck getting a multi-kill with it. It's dumb. And number 2 is Ultimate Battler in Star Ocean The Last Hope International. There's, of course, a million grindy RPGs, but there's not much out there that can match the absolute madness that is Star Ocean The Last Hope. To unlock the Ultimate Battler trophy, you have to complete 900 different challenges while in combat. Just getting them all requires at least 2 full playthroughs. And while many of these can be completed pretty easily, the last few take up a really significant portion of your playtime. Seriously, according to this guide on PSN profiles, just 3 specific battle trophies out of the 900 in this game are going to take about 80 to 100 hours. Like, look at these. Defeat 55 Grigory with phase. Okay, simple enough, right? The only problem is there's only 6 of these things in the main game, so you gotta play the main game multiple times just to get this one battle trophy. Another one wants you to kill 30,000 enemies with 2 different characters, which is insane considering the number of enemies you actually fight in the game. Another walkthrough estimates that getting all 900 trophies is gonna take over 500 hours. The whole thing's just unbelievable, and doesn't seem worth the effort, frankly. And finally, at number 1 is Truly Awesome from Rayman Legends. We're finishing this one off with a deceptively simple-sounding trophy. These are probably the most fun to talk about, at least. But all this says is reach the final level of awesomeness, which, that's vague. What exactly does that mean? Basically, you need to reach awesomeness level 11, which you get by collecting teensies. Just beating the game isn't anywhere close to enough. If you want 100% the game, you'll get to rank 10. But you'll still have about 2,000 teensies to collect, and it's here where things start to go down. That's because the only way to earn the collectibles you need at this point is to play the daily and weekly challenges. You get a bronze and you get 1 point. Silver gets 5. Gold gets 10. Diamond gets 50. Theoretically, shouldn't take too long if you were getting all platinums, but even for players who have mastered the game getting platinum scores on challenges, it's inconsistent at best. That's because the medals you earn are entirely based on how other players perform in the weekly and daily challenges. The only way to earn a bronze is to rank in the top 50% of all player time. So you get silver, you got to be in the top 20. Get gold, top 10. Get platinum, you got to be in the top 1% of people playing this game. Good luck. For most players, getting gold's probably the best bet. And that means they'll be able to earn like 20 points a day with an extra 20 points a week for the weekly challenge. So about 160 points a week. So it's going to take about 3 months of grinding to get this trophy. And that means playing Rayman Legends every single day. And that's one of the better scenarios. If you're not as good at the game and you're getting mostly silvers or bronzes, multiply that exponentially. So in pure playtime, this one might not take as long as certain other trophies, but the level of dedication required to unlock this one is especially bad. I mean, this is a trophy that can take literally months to unlock. It is totally nuts. And this is Ubisoft we're talking about. So the servers, they're not even available anymore. Even if you wanted to get this trophy, it's now not possible. It's not just that it's mostly impossible because of the nature of the trophy. It's literally impossible. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.